Hi, welcome back to Imperfect Fighters. We're glad you're here.
Yep.
So today we're gonna get right into it. We're talking about the time we almost got divorced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he doesn't know, but I was about to be out.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. So yeah, we were living in New York for most of our lives. Well,
You get to talk about your side. He was living in New York for most of his life.
Okay.
Rockland, let's say Rockland, New York.
Okay, Rockland, New York.
Because New York is a big...
Most of my life. There were other places here and there, but majority of it was there. And at the time, I was working a bunch of jobs, and I was getting very frustrated because I didn't spend any time with my family, and we weren't making ends meet, and I was just kind of frustrated. And so we went on vacation, and we were in Boca Raton for a little bit of time, and in Florida, and I was like, oh man, I just love this place. I like the vibe. I kind of want to be here. I think this would be a good setup for me. And a year later, in about January, the top of the following year, I was just overwhelmed with work and just working so much, and just the environment the environment that we were in was so stressful. And so I started praying, asking God just for a change, and just what it was going to be and what to do and all those kind of things. And I wasn't really relaying that to Dina. I was just kind of doing my own thing and just trying to get out. And so I went to a prayer service, and then just kind of God used a pastor to speak to me and to say he sees me moving and that kind of thing. And so that was confirmation for me to start getting the ball rolling. But I was getting the ball rolling and still not
He wasn't communicating that part to me, because he's having this prayer and God is speaking to him, but then he would come home and have a completely different conversation with me as if we were staying in New York. So in my mind, it's like, we're staying here for a year so I can work, get some experience, and then we can move somewhere. Because in my field, they like to see that you're consistent for at least 6 months to be able to say that you're not new anymore. So for me, it was important to be able to stay somewhere consistent for a year, so that wherever I go, I can give them a salary that I want, and they can't fight me on that because I have the experience. So the break or the gap in communication was weird. And the crazy thing is, he was having conversations with other people about exactly what was going on with him, which was what made it crazy to me, and where my frustration came into it. Because it's like, you're having this conversation with everyone else except for me. Literally, the way I found out that he was dead set and serious about moving was, we were at church. No, we didn't get to church yet. He went on to church before me, and I was with my daughter, and we were a little bit behind. So I was driving to church, and I start getting a bunch of text messages like, oh my God, you're moving. I didn't even know that. And I'm like, what? No. I'm like, what? Why is everybody texting me this craziness? My sister's like, are you serious? You're moving? You didn't say anything to me. And at the time, we were living with my sister. So you can only imagine how that felt for my sister to come up to me and tell me that I'm moving before I even know that I'm moving. So I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Get into church, a bunch of people come up to me, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. We could wish you guys the best. And I'm like, Lord help me. I don't know what is going on. But for me, I personally don't like to throw my husband under the bus in front of people, or have back and forths in front of people. So I just put on a smile and was just like, okay, thank you. I was like, yeah, okay, all right, whatever. And then he comes downstairs, and I'm like, I pull him to the side in a corner. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And one of our friends happened to be there. And And I'm like, how are we moving? And he goes, I don't know about you, but I'm moving next month. Literally, just like that. Our friend was so like thrown off that she was just like, oh, and she just turned around and walked away. I was just like, what? Like, how did you make this whole plan to move? And we spoke about staying for a year, and I signed a contract with a company to work for them for a year. So they're not just gonna be like, okay, bye-bye, you can leave. Nah, they're gonna want their money that we took. So that is what was all going on in my head. And honestly, I was like, I'm not doing that. Because number one, we're not single we're not like just newlyweds or just us. We have 2 children. You don't have a job in Florida. You don't have anywhere to live in Florida, but somehow you feel like you're gonna move to Florida and be okay with your wife and your 2 kids with no job and no home. So for me, that's like, nah, I'm not doing that. If it was just us, I don't care. We'll live in a car with me and my husband. Like, I don't care. I'm a ride for you. But when it comes to my children, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna put, if I can help it, I'm not gonna put that in that situation to be either jumping from house to house or living with people or living in our house and be homeless and not be able to feed them because we don't have a job or anything to fall back on. So that was my end of it, where I'm looking at my husband like, I don't understand who this is. So I was like, okay, you want to do your own thing and move to Florida, I'm gonna do my own thing and go ahead and get an apartment for me and my kids, and I'm gonna stay my butt right here.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay right here for this year. And honestly, if you decide that after 6 months Florida is really where you want to be, then after my kids' school year is over, and after, by that time my contract would have been up, and it would be like, all right, so then we can make that move. But I honestly was not about to just jump and go move somewhere with no home and no job. So that was how it was looking on my end, where it was like my husband just looked insane to me.
So yeah, I was wow, it was bad. It was rough times, man. Yeah. I mean, yeah, looking back, I was very tunnel vision. And I was like, at that time, I was like, all right, that could work. And I started still reaching out to people to kind of get some jobs. And, I didn't have anything guaranteed, but I was like, I'm just going to go on faith and all that. And then I guess we did have a conversation, and we said, all right, let's try go. We both said, let's try go. But
no, he went, I put my deposit down for my apartment and I was ready to move in, and he went to the apartment, took my deposit back from this lady. I don't know what story he gave this lady to get that money back. You don't remember going back to the complex that I put the down deposit down?
I've never seen the place. Are you serious? Wait, what the hell is happening?
This is how I know. This right here that's happening. This here that's happening is how I
went to take the deposit from a lady. I never met a lady though.
Patrick.
Babe, I never met a lady.
Patrick.
Are you
Patrick.
Oh.
In Nanuet.
I understand. I know, but you did that. That wasn't me.
I did not.
I didn't go there.
I said I'm not going to get that deposit back because I'm not moving. And you said, please, I cannot go to Florida without you and my family. And you legit went to this lady and got that money back.
This is crazy.
It is crazy. And this is
never met a lady.
That's what you think in your head, and that's what you believe in your head, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm telling you exactly what happened. There's a lot of things that you didn't see or didn't realize that was happening at that moment. And you legit went to this lady and got the deposit back from that apartment.
All right, let's move on. So then we decided to
You laughing, but it wasn't
They,
a funny
we
situation.
decided to go.
Stop saying we.
Okay.
We did not decide anything.
All right. So
What happened
go ahead.
is, honestly, that's what I get. That's why it's important to be able to submit to your husband and your wife, so that, honestly, I don't doubt at all that God was giving my husband this vision, that this is where we needed to be. But because I wasn't ready to hear that message or accept that message, because I'm like, this is just too crazy for me. So none of it made sense to me. But because I saw, honestly, the mental state that my husband was in, that it was just like he was going to these great lengths to just get out of the situation that we were in. As a wife, I was like, I'm going to submit to my husband and follow him in the path that he's telling me that God is leading us. So that's why we ended up leaving. Not because, honestly, we made a decision to do it. Is because I was submitting to you, because it's like, I see my husband clearly needs this for his mental health. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna bite this bullet and I'm gonna go.
And so, so probably we're back on the same pathway now. I had saw that it was a Wednesday, and she was on the phone with her cousin, whoever, and I could hear in her voice that she was just like not cool with this movement, and that's what kind of clicked for me. So I legit got on my knees and I prayed. I was praying for probably a half hour or whatever, and I was praying to God. I said, "Listen, I get that this journey and this faith walk is for me, but right now it may not be for Dina. So I need you to kind of give me some more guarantees or something, so that she could be more at ease and more comfortable." And so when I got up off my knees, I grabbed my laptop and I went on the job website, and I saw a position at it didn't even say ADT. It just said a creative video director. So I was like, all right, I applied for it. That was the one thing I applied for. And then I closed my laptop, and that was it. Went to bed. So Thursday now, I'm getting ready to go to work, and I put on my clothes, and then I see a phone call from Boca Raton, Florida, as in the call ID. And I was like, what in the world? Like the next day. So I'm like, no, there's no way. So I answered the phone. They were like, hey, we got your resume. We like your stuff. We like your work. We want to set up an interview. And I was just like, what in the... I was so like blown away. I was like, like God moving too fast. And
you asked for a blessing, but whoa, you're moving too fast for me.
It came. Yeah, that was just like insane. So I was like, all right. So we set up an interview. I was supposed to fly out to Florida, and I went, and there was delay, and I missed my flight. So then throughout the rest of the day, I called them and said, hey, listen, I missed my flight. It was beyond my control. It was just like backup and everything, whatever. So I was there all day trying to get a flight out to Florida, and I couldn't get on each flight. They were books. And I was like, man, God, you gotta work this out. So I called the lady that I was interviewing with. I said, hey, I explained to her, and she said, it's okay, cool. She was like, guess what? I'm flying out to New York next week. You can meet me upstate New York. I said, cool. All right. So the following week, we're supposed to meet up. Her flight got canceled. And so she was just like, all right, let's just do this Skype interview. So I doing the Skype interview with her, and she was all cool. She was like it. We were vibing and everything. I think what the funny thing was, my sister told me, don't wear no pants to this Skype interview. And I was like, I'm ironing my clothes. I'm like, probably don't have to wear no pants. And so I was like, no, let me put on, last minute, I was like, let me just put on pants. So I on the call, and the interview was going like okay, and then in the middle, the lady was like, "Hey, are you wearing pants?" And I was like, "Oh snap, I am!" I stood up, I was wearing pants. We're dying laughing, and I kind of put it over the edge, and so got the job, and I told her, and then so we got a solid job and no
Nowhere to
place,
live.
and then like in the middle, it was like a couple weeks later. in the middle of the day, she was like, "Oh, here's a place we want to move." And I looked at it, I was like, "Yo, I don't think with our credit and our and our funds right now we could, be in that kind of place." And God worked.
Well, my sister, that was living in Florida in that area already, had basically went apartment hunting for us, and she found this nice little community, and she was like, here it is. She believed it would be within our budget, and looking at it, it's like, nah, we can't afford this.
Because we're in that New York state of mind.
Yeah, exactly. We're in that New York state of mind. We're like, there's no way that we can afford this 2-bedroom apartment with clubhouse and all these extra amenities and stuff like that, gated community and everything. But like my husband said, we were in a New York state of mind. So in New York, this is like easily $4,000 a month, where in Florida it was like what, 16?
Yeah.
$1,600 a month. And yeah, we got the apartment, and my husband, you went ahead.
I went ahead, I packed up the car, loaded everything, said peace out to everybody, loaded up the car. I was squeezed up in the car, and I drove straight. I was just so excited to get down there. I just drove straight, like I didn't even sleep. I stopped one little bit, and I was like, nah, let's keep going. And I was so psyched to get there that I had 3 more hours. I was so close. I had 3 hours to get there, but I needed to pull off the road and get something to eat or something on the car. And so when I hopped back on the highway, I jumped on the highway and I'm driving, and I'm seeing signs that I've passed already. And so I'm like, wait a minute, what is happening? Because I was so hyped, and it's one road, 95, is one road to Florida. So I'm like, I'm good. I didn't need the GPS. And then when I looked, I had drove 2.5 hours the opposite direction, north. And now it was 5 hours to Boca Raton, Florida. I was screaming on the side of the highway, all kinds of cussing and everything, because now I just went farther because I was just so excited to get there. And that's what happened. But yeah, then we got there, and they came a week later.
Yeah.
But yeah, clearly from this story, we were very close to divorce.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how bad it was.
Yeah, you didn't, and that's why I was trying to make you understand. So, in our last video, was it our last video? No, in our anniversary video, check that out. We were talking about an argument which was the worst time in our relationship, and that argument stemmed from this situation in moving, where I was trying to explain to Patrick how crazy this was, that he wanted to just get up and take our kids and move somewhere without a job, without somewhere to live, and without communicating to me. Like, he was talking to everybody else, but he wasn't communicating this honestly to me. It was almost as if he was like trying to tell me what I wanted to hear, but then still doing his own thing, which wasn't the right thing to do. So I was trying to explain to him how crazy this was, and he really wasn't understanding. Like, he was just like, I don't understand what the big deal is. And I'm like, dude, you about to move to a whole nother state, and you didn't tell your wife that you have 2 children with. How do you not see that that's crazy and that's not okay in a marriage? So for me, it was just like, he really doesn't understand this. Maybe we don't need to be together, because I don't see how I can be married to someone who doesn't understand or feel like it's important to make a huge life decision like that with me. You can't just make that decision by yourself. Yeah. This isn't just like we're just gonna move to the next town. We were moving our entire family to a whole nother state, and that was not communicated to me. That was not a decision that we made together. So that's why I was ready to go ahead and live in that apartment with my 2 kids by myself, and you could have just went to Florida, and I was going to just have to figure it out on my own.
But look at all the great things that have came out of that rough time.
And that's why I said, this is why it's important to be able to submit to your significant other. Because even though it was crazy to me, I was still praying, and like God was just like, just submit to your husband. I know it sounds crazy, but submit to him, follow him. He needs this. That was what was my turning point, and what my view was. It was like, your husband needs this. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do it because my husband needs this. But even in getting to Florida, it was still crazy for me. Things were just coasting and just nice for Patrick, but I was still like going crazy because we got there, registered our kids for school, and the day before school is supposed to start, I get a phone call that my daughter can't start school. Why? Because Florida's age limit is different. In New York, you can start school up to December. You can start kindergarten up to December at 4 years old, but in Florida, you have to be 5 by the 1st of September. And my daughter's birthday.
It was first grade.
No, it wasn't. It was kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Hannah was in preschool, and then we were going to kindergarten. Genesis was in 1st grade. Okay. So yeah, you have to be 5 by the 1st of September. Hannah's birthday is on the 13th. So I'm like, you're not about to hold my kid back for a whole entire year just for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I had to do a bunch of research to figure out how I can get her started. So basically, me and Hannah had to leave and come back to New York for a month so that she can physically start school, and then I had to transfer her back to Florida, or else they was going to keep her a whole year back, which also delayed me finding a job. And then in the little like week or whatever that I was there, this man got me pregnant, and I found out while I was in New York. So I'm like, okay, great. We moved to a whole new state, sorry. I had to come back to get my daughter started for school. I'm pregnant. I have no Florida insurance. So it was still very all over the place for me, while my husband was just living in the Sunshine State.
Good times.
Great times for my husband. But it was definitely a rocky road for me. And I'm just very happy that I was able to pray about it and was able to just submit to my husband and what he needed at that moment, and not divorce you, because I was ready, babe.
I know.
I was legit.
But we grew together more as a family.
Yeah, we did. Honestly, and that's the best part about it, is being in Florida. My husband didn't have 1,500 jobs. He had a 9 to 5, and at 5 o'clock he clocked out, and it was family time. Like, we were able to go to the park, we were able to go to the beach, and it wasn't a bunch of carried over work. And that definitely made us closer as a family, and definitely opened up his eyes to understand that, wow, like, I do need this connection with my family, and to be able to spend time with my kids and have moments just with my wife without, and being on the computer and looking at them while I'm working is not family time.
And so, we got our bundle of joy / terror.
Adam was born in Florida, my little cutie pie, my little peanut. So it all worked out. We didn't end up getting divorced. Yeah. So that was the Florida story. We're still waiting for when the Jamaican kids beat you up.
That story won't happen.
It is.
Yeah. So you like our stories.
What?
You like our stories. Like and subscribe.
That was so dry. Try it again.
If you like our stories, like and subscribe.
Okay. Peace. Making kids beat you up.
That story won't happen.
It is.
Yeah. So you like our stories.
What?
You like our stories. Like and subscribe.
That was so dry. Try it again.
If you like our stories, like and subscribe.
Okay. Peace.